Welcome back. You tune into Market Fatafat, where we are getting you all the top buzzers in trade either on the back of news flow or on the back of technicals. And for that, now on the technicals, we're joined by Sneha Seth, derivative analyst Angel One, who's joining us. Hi, good afternoon, Sneha. Thank you so much for joining us. Sneha, your first stock you picked out for us is NMDC. Tell us on the charts, what do you see for NMDC?
If you look at the chart structure over here, the counter has given a very strong up move from 68 zone, and that zone was acting as a support. After that, you see the counter was struggling around 75, 74 odd zone, and which has been acting as a resistance since quite some time. And finally, the counter has managed to surpass this. I believe the counter is, poised to for a move at least toward 80, 85, 80, 82 is the zone which I'm looking forward for. So I believe for now, someone who wants to go ahead and long any counters from the OMGC, they can go ahead with NMDC, keeping a stop loss around 73, and the target price would be around 82.
So 82, that's the target price coming in for this mining company. But let's also put the spotlight on Tega, and the stock continues to remain in focus on the back of that big announcement of acquisition that came in yesterday evening, where the company said and they announced intent to acquire Molycorp in consortium with Apollo Funds. Now, as a part of this consortium, 100% stake will be acquired, and 77% will be held by Tega, and the balance 23% will be held by Apollo Funds. Now, this is a big transaction, a big acquisition, and the total consideration stands at about 1.5 billion US dollars, which translates to over 13,000 crore in Indian rupees, and for consideration of about 120 million US dollars. This is valued at about 8.6 times FY26 EBITDA, and the transaction is likely to be completed by December of this year itself. In fact, Centrum has come out with a report where they say valuations appear to be fair at about 8.6 times FY25 EBITDA, and it could lead to significant value unlocking for Tega due to its scale and cross-selling opportunities. So on the back of this big announcement on acquisition that came in, the stock continues to remain in focus.
All right, moving on to the next counter, which is in focus on the back of a brokerage note, is TCS. Now, CLSA has come out with a note on TCS. They're maintaining an outperform rating with the target price of 4,279. They feel that there is no material change in the demand outlook due to the global macro uncertainty. FY26 international growth is expected to be better than the company's overall growth, and Infosys share buyback proposal can invigorate buyback talks at TCS too. Now, the valuations are attractive, and the positive narratives around a share buyback, US Fed rate cuts, global AI spending, and the resolution of US-India trade war, which could lead to a stock re-rating. On the back of that, they're maintaining a buy call, CLSA on TCS. TCS is marginally in the green right now, though it has given up those morning gains. Nonetheless, trading in the green with gains of 0.3%.
Let's also put the spotlight on RVNL then. Rabinder, the stock, I believe, is in focus on the back of some new order wins.
Well, as RVNL is in focus on the back of the order win, where company has emerged as a lowest bidder for design, modification, supply, erection, testing, and commissioning of 220 and 132 kV 2 into 25 kV Scott's connected traction substation and switching post with the 80, including SCADA work between Bina to RTA section of Bhopal division of Western Railway to meet 30,000 MT loading targets, and the cost of the project is approximately 170 crore. So back of this order win, RVNL is in focus.
All right, RVNL in focus, but let's move on to the technicals. And Sneha, you've picked out ICICI Bank for us on the charts. Tell us, ICICI Bank, what are you seeing? Because it has been in a corrective phase for the last few weeks. For the last 1 month, actually, it has been correcting. So tell us, what do you see on the charts from here on?
See, overall, in last couple of sessions, we are seeing this counter stuck in a range wherein on the higher side, 1410, 1415 is the resistance zone, and the good base is formed around 1380, 1385 zone. And if you look at the options activity as well, we are seeing put prices shifting the strikes higher, and I believe any move beyond 1415 would be very interesting for this counter, because after decent profit taking and a very strong resistance of 1410 and 1415 looks likely to be surpassed because of the options activity. So I believe if someone wants to look for any count in the banking space after PSU Bank, which has already given a move, and banking index after some consolidation is now showing some buying interest. So I believe ICICI Bank would be a preferred pick from the private sector bank. Apart from this, Axis also looks good, but level wise and if you see the risk reward ratio, I think ICICI would be a better bet.
So that's the view coming in on ICICI Bank. But Kanishka, you've picked up Eternal, that is Zomato and Swiggy for us. What is the news surrounding these food delivery platforms?
That's right. So both of these counters are in focus because Axis Capital has come out with a report. Now this report highlights key trends in the quick commerce space. It says that discounting across platforms is now broadly similar at the 30 to 35% level, with Instamart, that is Swiggy's Instamart, offering the steepest discounts at 35%. In terms of assortment, Blinkit is leading the pack with minutes and has improved but still trails incumbents. Meanwhile, on the brand side, D2C products, they are priced at 1 to 2.5 times higher than non-D2C, driving higher average order values and better margins for these platforms. That's the word coming from the brokerage. Meanwhile, Amazon Now's expansion, that remains sluggish with limited presence in Bengaluru and Delhi. Now, on the back of these discounts that are going on and their business models, Axis Capital says that it prefers Zomato, that is Eternal, over Swiggy in the listed space. And hence, both of these counters are in focus. Trade Eternal up about 0.8%, whereas Swiggy is trading about 0.5% higher.
Both Zomato and Swiggy gaining anywhere between 0.5 to 1% on the back of this report. But let's also put the spotlight on Cummins, where Motilal is maintaining its buy stance, but they've upped their target price from 4,350 earlier to 4,500 rupees per share now. They say the company has witnessed demand environment and improvement in demand across the power gen segment following lower industry volumes in the second half of the last financial year. Cummins is also experiencing strong growth in its industrial growth, and it continues to expect strong, healthy growth potential in the distribution segment as well. So Motilal, they are modeling in EBITDA margins of about 19.7% for the current fiscal, at about 19.5 to 20% for the next 2 years as well. So their outlook continues to remain very positive. They are maintaining their buy stance. 4,500 is their revised target price. The stock is holding up with gains of nearly 0.7% on the back of this.
Well, it's Cummins India in focus, trading with gains of more than 0.5%. But Sneha, you picked out Bharat Forge for us. On the charts, what are you penciling in for Bharat Forge? That's also a stock that's up and away 1% in trade. And then, in fact, in the last 6 months, it has given some 14% returns. Do you see this momentum to continue to this further upside to this counter?
Yes, very much likely, because if you look at the higher degree chart structure, when on the weekly chart structure we have a falling trend line resistance place around current zone only. But if you look at the overall setup, wherein counter has made a very good base around 1,100 odd zone, and this week it was already up. It is already up by like 7%, and I believe the momentum can continue. We can expect this counter heading towards 1360, 1365 is the zone which I'm looking for. So someone who wants to go ahead and long or wants to take a fresh bet in this counter can go ahead and long with a strict stop loss of around 1170.
So 1170, that's the stop loss that you should keep in mind for Bharat Forge. But let's keep it going with auto and auto ancillary. Then Eicher Motors. Rabinder, what is the news flow here?
Well, as Eicher Motor is in focus, the company has announced the extension of full GST reduction benefit to the customers, and company said that with the auspicious start of the Navratri, Eicher Motors purchasing new vehicles from the September 2022-2025 can enjoy lower acquisition cost on Eicher's range of modern and fuel-efficient trucks and buses. Company said that for the truck operator, the GST cut will help ease cost pressure and stimulate demand in the freight and logistic, while for buses, it will encourage fleet modernization by state transport corporation and private operators, improving public mobility. And the festive gift from the government will enable faster adoption of safer, fuel-efficient and modern Eicher vehicles, strengthening India's automobile industry and support the India's vision in its Amrit Kal. So, back of this, Eicher Motor is in focus.
All right, moving on from Eicher Motors to Infosys. Sneha, you picked out Infosys for us. Now, Infosys is in focus on the back of that buyback, and today also. But on the charts, what do you see for Infosys? Currently, it is trading down now 1.5%. What do you see in the short term for Infosys?
Here, if you look at the chart structure, the counter has, has a resistance placed around 1530, 1540 zone, and we have seen twice that this counter has, has been facing resistance around this zone. But look at the last recent up move and the gap zone which has been created around 1480, 1470 zone. That gap area should be acting as a support, and I believe any move above the 89 EMA, which is placed around 1540 zone, would be very good for this counter. So I would say that it would be a conditional buy in case this counter heads above 1540 zone. It's a buy for the target of at least one can expect a very sharp move towards 1650, 1670 zone. So it would be a buy. It's a conditional buy, and the stop loss can be maintained around 1470.
Conditional buy on Infosys with a stop loss at 1470. But Kanishka, Biocon, what is the news here?
That's right. So Biocon is in focus today as it has operationalized its first manufacturing facility. It has inaugurated its first manufacturing facility in the US. This is via a subsidiary. This is done via Biocon Generics, which is a wholly owned arm of Biocon. Now, this plant is located in New Jersey, with Governor Phil Murphy attending the event alongside Biocon chairperson Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. Now, Biocon acquired the oral solid dosage facility in 2023 and has since been investing over $30 million to transform it into a state-of-art unit with an annual capacity of about 2 billion tablets. Now, few products at this facility have already been commercialized and more are in the pipeline. That's the word coming from the company. Now, the new facility will help diversify Biocon's manufacturing base, strengthen its supply chain and expand its global footprint as well, giving it a faster access to US market and improved supply reliability. And hence, the stock is in focus, however, not reacting all that positively, currently trading in the red.
All right, with that, it's time for a quick breather. Don't go anywhere after the break. We'll get you more buzzes in the trade. On the other side, stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Market Fatafat on ET Now, and Nifty is now up nearly 44 points as we speak, and Nifty Bank also gaining nearly 200 points in trade today. But let's get going with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. Sneha, Jio Finance that you've picked up for us this afternoon. Tell us on the charts, where do you see the stock headed?
See, if you look at the chart structure is very strong. We are seeing higher top, higher bottom structure since quite some time now. The counter has been consolidating after some profit taking, and I believe the counter has a very strong support zone around 306, 305 zone, and keeping a stop around those levels itself. It's a buy for the targets of 324 to 330 is the level which I'm watching for this counter. Overall, the chart structure is quite good, and the risk reward ratio at this point in time is very good.
All right, so that's Jio Financial Services on the charts. But coming to you, Ravindra, you picked up SpiceJet for us. Tell us why SpiceJet in focus?
Well, yes, SpiceJet is in focus, where company has reached a settlement with Kerala Aviation Partner, unlocking USD $79.6 million in a cash maintenance reserve for future aircraft and engine maintenance, plus USD 9.9 million in a cash maintenance credits to offset its lease obligation. And the agreement significantly enhance airline liquidity and supports its ongoing restructuring efforts. And this liquidity enhancement are a part of overall settlement agreement with Kerala Aviation Partners and its affiliated entities, under which the lessors shall restructure certain lease obligation totaling USD 121.18 million in the conjunction with the issuance of equity shares aggregating to USD 50 million. And the settlement agreement also provide for mechanism under which, in the event lessor realize proceed above USD 50 million from the sale of the issued share, a portion of the such excess will be applied to offset future lease obligations. So back of this news, SpiceJet is in focus and the stock is up 2%.
Okay, so SpiceJet in focus on the back of that, but let's put the spotlight on PSU banking companies. That Bank of Baroda Sneha, PSU banking stocks have been outperforming private sector banks over the last few days. So, in the backdrop of that, where do you see Bank of Baroda's chart headed from the current level?
If you look at the chart structure for Bank of Baroda, the chart structure is quite good. In fact, if you see the counter has consolidated, hence it is not a buy at current zone. But yes, you need to look forward for the levels like 245 to 50 zone. Once this counter surpasses this zone, then probably it's a buy for me. At this point in time, we would avoid taking a fresh bet because if you look at the chart structure, it's been couple of times that counter has managed to touch the 250 zone and has been seeing a decent profit taking from those levels. So once it surpasses 250 zone, then only one should be going ahead and taking a long position for in this counter especially. And once it this counter surpasses this zone, I believe it is very much likely that you can see 260 to 62 levels in a very short term.
All right, so that's Bank of Baroda on the charts. But coming to you, Kanishka, Ola Electric, tell us why is Ola Electric in focus?
That's right. So Ola Electric is in focus today because the company disclosed earlier that its promoter has pledged 10.7 crore shares. That represents 2.4% of the equity capital and about 8% of promoter holdings. Now, this pledge, created in favor of Axis Trustee Services on behalf of multiple lenders, is meant to secure debentures issued by Krutim Data Center, which is a group company of Ola Electric. Now, this replaces an earlier non-disposal undertaking, which may temporarily show duplicate encumbrances until the systems are updated. So, on the back of this news flow, Ola Electric is in focus, currently trading about 3% lower.
So that's Ola Electric for you on the back of promoter pledges being created. But from the pharma sector, Torrent Pharma, Ravinder, there is some news flow over here. What is that?
Well, as Torrent Pharma is in focus on the back of their acquisition, where company has entered into a share subscription and shareholders agreement to subscribe at 26% equity shares of the Torrent Urja 27 Private Limited for setting up captive hybrid solar plus wind project in the Gujarat. And the Torrent Urja, currently a wholly owned subsidiary of the Torrent Green Energy Private Limited, is a special purpose vehicle formed for setting up of captive power project in the Gujarat. And the Torrent Urja is in business of generation and transmission of hybrid energy consisting of wind, solar and other source of renewable energy. And the cost of the acquisition will be 7.9 crore and the acquisition to be completed between 18 to 20 months. So back of this acquisition, Torrent Pharma is in focus.
All right, keeping with the pharma pack, then Sneha, Aurobindo Pharma is what you have picked out for us on the charts. Now, in the last 6 months, it has been stuck in a range. It's only last few weeks that we're seeing some momentum coming in on Aurobindo Pharma. So what do you pencil in on the charts for it?
Here, if you look at the chart structure, this counter has a multi-year support zone placed around 1020, and precisely from that zone only we are seeing some buying interest coming in. Today, the counter has shown a very strong up move, and I believe this momentum can extend towards 1200, 1220 zone is very much possible in this counter. So someone who's looking to add a fresh long position here can go ahead and long this counter, keeping a stop around 1080.
1080, that's where you should place your stop loss for Aurobindo Pharma. But Adani Power, Kanishka, there's some news flow over here as well.
Absolutely. So Adani Power is in focus today after a big order win. Now the company has received a letter of award from Madhya Pradesh Power Management Company for supplying an additional 800 megawatt of thermal power there. Now with this, Adani's total awarded capacity from the state utility has now doubled to 1600 megawatt. Separately, the stock has also seen 1% of equity, or about 37 million shares, change hands in a large block deal. So both strong order wins and significant trading activity that is keeping Adani Power shares in focus today. It's down about 1.5% as we speak, despite the positive news flow when it comes to the order win.
All right, that was the last talk of the day. Sneha, Kanishka and Ravinder, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us with all the buzzers. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Fatafat. Ashish and I will take a leave. Thank you so much for tuning in.